how's it going? My name's Will Hamill. I'm a senior software engineer at Kainos, just down the road. I heard of us. We're hiring. So I'm here just to talk to you about Kinect. Do a really basic introduction. It's not going to be super low level. What is it? What does it do? What can you do with it? And where do you get started? So, first thing I'm going to talk about are the hardware. So what does the Kinect device actually involve? What does it do? How does it do it? The kind of choices you have for developing with it as your various different APIs. Look a little bit into the MS Kinect SDK as my particular API of choice for starting a basic application. And take you through your first very basic application. A demonstration of an app using your hands to move images about. And maybe ask you if you have any ideas for where this could kind of go itself and some things to bring up. Okay, so does anyone here have a Kinect at home? Anyone have one? No? It's just me that bought it, is it? There's one sold. No? Seriously? Okay. Yeah, everyone think it's a gimmick, is that it?
Well, there's two in the labs in here, so.
Yeah? You wouldn't buy one for yourself, though?
It's expensive.
I think everyone thinks it's a gimmick. I kind of agree. I bought it, I haven't played with it in the house. Mostly because I don't live in a massive penthouse with a huge living room. So I keep having to stand on my sofa and bump into fiddle things.
I went from the Wii, don't get anything with motion control.
Yeah?
Yeah, now I'll get the place.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, well, anyway, if you haven't seen the Kinect before, well, this is it here. I have a little attachment on the front that I'll talk to you about in a minute. But the basics for the hardware itself is an RGB camera, so standard, just normal webcam, and sorry, hold on. Skip ahead myself. It's basically an RGB webcam and an infrared laser projector and an infrared camera. So it's not actually a stereoscopic camera, like you seem to kind of hear a lot about. But what it actually does is it uses the RGB camera to map you and take photos of you, your face, or whatever you've ever seen on the Xbox. It can take a photo of you, include that in a game, and upload it and embarrass you in front of other friends. But the infrared projector basically sends out a big cloud of infrared dots onto the scene that it's pointing at, and the infrared camera uses those dots and the position in those and how they've changed based on objects in the scene to determine the 3D depth from the camera of the position of those dots. So typically what the Kinect actually does is it gets a color image stream and a depth image stream as well, just telling you how far certain points in the view are from the camera. It also has a 4-microphone array. I've never actually used it much myself, but I know you can use it in the games to determine. It's used to determine people's position, and also it has a noise cancelling mic on the back, if I recall correctly, so that it doesn't pick up background noise as much. You can also use it for development if you want to include the sound recognition in your apps. You can use it and plug it straight into Microsoft's speech platform, which has an SDK of its own. You can actually plug the Kinect straight into your computer and use it as a microphone and have it recognize voice commands in Windows 7, the same way you can with any other microphone. So you usually see the Kinect basically being bundled with the Xbox 360 as a games device. The new 360 you can get as a bundle with it. You also get the Kinect standalone for people who bought the older Xbox, or people who just want to buy it like me, just to muck about with it on the PC. If you buy it separately, you'll get the power supply that I have here plugged in. If you use it with an Xbox, you'll not have a separate power supply, so you'll need to buy that if you want to start mucking around with your PC and development for it. The Kinect hardware is made by a company called Prime Sense that Microsoft bought about 2 or 3 years ago now, and it's how they get along. Like, if you find something cool, buy the company. Works if you've got enough money. But anyway, Prime Sense still make the hardware, and you can buy a Kinect camera device that isn't Microsoft branded through Asus. So you can buy it. It's the Asus. I know how to spell XTION. I don't even know how to say that word. And also Microsoft have decided that they're going to release another Kinect piece of hardware, which is just for Windows PCs, presumably to take advantage of all the developers and the companies that are interested in using Kinect for their own programs instead of just for the 360. So what are our choices if we want to use the Kinect for development? We've got three main APIs competing for people to use them. We've got the Open Kinect API, which is very low level. It started before people even knew that Microsoft were interested in releasing an SDK. And that gives you very, very low level access. I'm not going to, you can read it here. It gives you very low level access to the actual kind of Kinect hardware itself. It's more of a driver than a suite of development tools. It lets you do fun things like you can get a better quality image than you normally get out of the Kinect, but you have to reduce the frame rate. It's very low level. You have to do things like constructing bytes for control packets and things like that. So that's something I've had the time to investigate myself. You don't get skeleton tracking with the Open Kinect because it's more of a driver than a toolkit. And you can't do camera color and depth streams at the same time, just the way the driver's been created. That's probably going to change in the future. It depends. It's an open source project for people who are doing it for fun, so it depends what kind of time and effort they can put into it. RhymeSense, the company who made the Kinect, have their own SDK API as well called Kinect. It's relatively low level, but it's not. You don't have to go in and create bytes and send them out and really get into the electronics of it. Gives you a nice thing, like you get skeleton tracking straight out of the box, so it'll be able to pick up a full person's skeleton and the position of them relative to the scene. It tracks up to 6 in a scene, and you can use the first 4, I think, for actual interaction with any kind of games or applications that you're creating. A nice thing they've done for us is they give you kind of hand gesture recognition as well, so you can do kind of waving motions and maybe up and down, side to side. Probably the most popular one at the moment for basic kind of student apps, or most companies seem to be investing in, seems to be Microsoft's official Kinect SDK. After the first 9 months of freaking out about people connecting the Kinect to their PC and thinking they're going to hack it, do all sorts of terrible things, they realized actually it's not just for waving your hands about and mucking around games. You can actually use it for some really cool stuff, commercial and business and research applications. So they actually got off their behinds and decided to release a proper SDK for what they were doing to the public. At the moment, it's non-commercial, so you're all students, knock yourselves out. But if you're thinking of starting up a small business with it, there is a commercial SDK on the way, and it's supposedly going to have slightly more features just because they're spending more time developing it. Microsoft Kinect SDK, if anyone's familiar with Visual Studio, if you use it in maybe games programming or any other modules, yeah. There's no Visual Studio back in my time. Visual Studio integration with Kinect SDK is pretty good. You just add a reference to the Kinect libraries once you've got it installed, and that's you, like start programming. They've got lots of different C# and VB programming samples up on Microsoft's Kinect SDK websites and on the MSDN websites for Channel 9. There are videos of a weird looking guy taking you through how to get set up with the Kinect SDK, how to get your first app up and running. They're all up on the internet. It's 5 seconds into Google, and it's very easy just to get started. It supports all the typical Kinect features that I mentioned earlier, like depth, images, RGB. It has the skeleton tracking out of the box, and it also does the microphone array. They don't give you any gesture recognition right now in the basic SDK, but there are different kind of toolkits and third-party APIs that you can plug into that. But I would be surprised if Microsoft don't throw in some of those basic ones for free whenever they release a final version of the commercial SDK. Presumably when the commercial one's released, then the kind of student one will be updated as well. How do you get the Kinect SDK? Go to connectforwindows.org, download it, it's free, all the prerequisites are free, except for Kinect, obviously. You'll need, if you want to use C++, any electronics and software engineers here, don't even know if that course exists anymore. Yeah, just one. Awesome. Keep it real. Yeah, if you're doing C++, they've got a C++ version up there as well, but you'll need DirectX 9 for that. You can plug in the speech recognition stuff I was talking about earlier. Coding for Fun libraries on Codeplex, which is Microsoft's open source community website. And Kinect up there as well. And on Codeplex, they're pretty handy for getting you started with basic things like extension methods and samples. And Kinect actually gives you quite handy set of templates in Visual Studio, so that you can install that, install the SDK, install Visual Studio, just go to Visual Studio, go new Kinect for your project for depth or skeleton or camera. It's really very, very simple to get started. So I mean, once you've got it started up, it's kind of up to you where you want to take it from there. But I'll give you a demonstration of an incredibly simple application I made this morning. So this one here. Is that? Let me try this. Change the resolution of this monitor down a bit. Yeah. Hold on a second. See if we can make it a bit uglier but bigger. Is that any good? Yeah. Just see through this. What I've done here is there's maybe 100 lines of code in this entire thing, and probably less if I get rid of some of these using statements on the top. I pretty much started a new WPF application, which is Windows Presentation Foundation. Just start a new application, gives you a blank canvas. What I've done is I've thrown in a couple of lines of code from Microsoft's sample website. So they get you started here. You need to create a new runtime object. Whenever the window's loaded, we want to initialize the Kinect. So we pass it a couple of parameters. What I've done here is add some skeleton smoothing so it looks a bit like it's going like this all the time. It also means you get smoother gestures in any applications you've used. And what we do then is the bulk of the work on this particular application. There's not a lot of it, but we do it on an event down here at the bottom called Skeleton Frame Ready. And whenever the Kinect reports that the skeleton has been picked up and detected, then it'll tell you that a new frame is available, and each time that the frame has been sampled, it'll send you a new one. All you have to do is basically determine how you want to actually process any of the data that's coming in there. This is like 99% of this code is all just straight off their sample website. So what I'm having to do is basically take the first skeleton that it detects up here, call a method called track joints, and in this I've actually stripped it down. It's using a bunch of different other stuff in that, making it less complicated here. What we're taking is an ellipse, which I've got on a canvas on the screen. So basically got WPF as a blank canvas, put a circle on it, nothing super fantastic thing. And I want to move that ellipse where the right hand is. And it does this by calling this method down here, which basically sets the position of the ellipse on screen to where roughly where in the space I've moved the right hand. So if we give it a go, we should be able to see what's going on. Hopefully it'll work. Wrong monitor, sorry. You're well impressed. So I'm not yeah, but it's, I mean, okay, yeah, move a ball like screen. Not gonna impress anyone enough to give you £1 million investment. But I mean, in terms of getting started, it's really simple to get into using the application. What I've done on top of what the sample code is added is what I've tried to do is try to make it so that it'll enlarge the ball whenever I move the hand closer to the screen. You see that? It's a wee bit jittery at the moment, probably just because the amount of light bouncing off me in the frame of this. And also we've got a little add-on on the front of the Kinect, so anyone who doesn't have a huge penthouse apartment could be interested in this. Got it off Amazon or Zappy or something along those lines. Basically just like a set of lenses, like glasses for your Kinect, to make it short-sighted. So that instead of having to be 50 feet away from it, I can actually be within the same range of a normal person's living room. So it means you can actually all go out and buy a Kinect and play with it in the house, and then you can go, oh, look, waving my hand, getting mad points. Yeah, people love that. But that application is pretty basic. It'll take you 5 minutes after installing the SDK to go and get set up with the sample code on Microsoft's websites. And you can move your hand about, you can add in more stuff, move other hands, it's up to you, do what you want. Move the ball about, have it bash into things on the screen, play breakout, except you're cheating, I guess. Yeah, it's up to you what you do with it, but I think it's quite easy and simple to get started with. So I'll show you the demonstration clip of a slightly different application. So this was put together by a couple of guys in our office in Poland. Let's see if it's runs. If you have any questions, just feel free to interrupt. I've run this in debug mode at the moment, so on the bottom right you should see the little kind of hitman show up whenever the skeleton gets detected. So, hopefully not. Yeah, that's me. I'll turn off the front row lights. Could somebody run down and turn off the front row lights? Excellent. Thanks very much. It's the top left one, I think. That's the one. Yeah, so evolve is a healthcare product we have in Kainos, so we're trying to impress people with this to minority report style thing, hopefully. So if I move my hand down here, it should hopefully start. Yeah. This isn't a finished product. This is put together by a couple of our guys over the weekend, actually. So we'll see how it pans out. But what it should allow me to do, if it's, there we go, little jittery at the moment. So it should allow me, hopefully, to swipe through an image gallery in the style of Minority Report, I'm sure. Not quite exactly what it was like in the film, is it? But the gist is there, and if I do this, hopefully, yeah, it should let me move the image around and zoom in. So the kind of angle we're going for here is maybe surgeons who are working in an operating theatre and want to manipulate an X-ray or an MRI, but they obviously have got loads of guns in their hands and don't want to mess up the computer. That'd be terrible. Anyway, that's that. So, yeah, that's kind of it in terms of just the demo. I want to know what you think of it and what kind of ideas you have. What can you do with it? What's it for? Why would you want to use a Kinect? Do you want to use it to manipulate a robot holding hazardous materials inside a radioactive reactor? I don't know. Anything at all. There's Kinect Accelerator Scheme, which is a scheme by Microsoft. It's similar to BizSpark, if you've ever heard of that. BizSpark, Microsoft will give you all these Microsoft licenses for servers and Office and crap for free if you're a startup company. Well, Kinect Accelerator, if you send in your ideas to them, if you've got a startup company, they'll pick 10 companies, and send them over to America for 4 weeks to work with them. They'll give you $10,000 and they'll give you a chance to pitch to investors. So there's money to be made. Microsoft and Invest in I are interested in helping startups. They're very interested in anything along the Kinect lines because it seems to be impressive to investors. And it's kind of up to you what it is you want to do with the technology. A couple of links there. ConnectForWindows.org gets you the SDK. ConnectHacks.org gets you loads of different videos and really cool things people are doing with Kinect, both in the Microsoft SDK and the open source kind of low level ones. But like I said, it's up to you what you want to do with the application. So I mean, if you have any ideas on how it could be done, get stuck in. All you need to do is buy it. Obviously, your student loans are coming in. I mean, there's some really cool thing. I saw a bomb disposal robot that had been modified to use a Kinect camera on the front to provide 3D navigation around sites where a bomb had gone off, or hopefully not yet had gone off. And that kind of thing is, I mean, for less than £100 for a camera that does depth perception and normal camera stuff, it's pretty good. It's pretty accessible to get people into doing things that couldn't do last year. That's it. Any questions? Give me loads of questions.
If you're thinking to get the Kinect, would you wait until the one for Windows, or should you just get the one?
Good question. Microsoft promise, and they don't tell you when it's going to arrive. Don't even know when the commercial SDK is there. You just don't hold your breath. I got it on Tesco online for like 80 quid, and because I had like all these club card vouchers that I hadn't been using because I moved out of my house and it turned out they were going into somebody else's house now. I got an extra 20 quid off. But it's under 100 quid. I understand it's not really the kind of investment you want to buy just for the crack. But I mean, if you're interested in doing something with a final year project or a bit of research, it could be worthwhile. The Kinect for Windows device, I can't tell you when it's going to arrive. All I know is that they've said it will, probably spring 2012. The Kinect for Windows device is apparently going to have some enhancements, so to tweak the firmware to kind of have smoother skeleton tracking and better detail, and also the Kinect for Windows PC one will work up to 50 centimeters away from the device. So I don't think it'll work on Xbox, so it'll probably be cheaper. But you should be able to get a lot closer to it in the kind of environment you might want to actually use Kinect for some sort of commercial reasons. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
How hard is it to create your own gestures if you want to try and program them?
Sorry, I can't hear.
How hard would it be to program in your own gestures, custom ones if you want to create?
Your own gestures is not massively complicated. It depends what kind of quality of gestures and what kind of gesture recognition you want. The application that I showed you earlier, I'll show you a bit of the code inside that. That'll be fun. Okay. So I commented that for other people to see, so hopefully we should see that. Let's have a look. Okay. What that does there is it passes in 4 functions. See the 4 big blocks, almost identical, to check for 4 different gestures that we pre-selected. So an up gesture, a down gesture, and a left and right. That's what I was using in the image viewer. So up to take me up a level, down to take me into something selected, and left and right to multiply with the images left and right. That basic gesture recognition you get out of a third-party API called the Kinect Toolbox. So if you go and search Google for that, it might be on Codeplex. Can't remember if it's Codeplex or something else. Have a look, and they give you very basic gesture recognition out of the box. The way that they do it, if you're interested, is they basically scan through all the movements that a hand has done, and they have a big buffer. And if your hand has been here, that's a down gesture. That's the kind of thing that they're going with. More sophisticated gesture recognition is kind of up to you, or depending on any kind of other third-party libraries you can use for that. A friend of mine went to UJ, did 3-dimensional gesture recognition with accelerometers with an object. So what you could do is you could take the position of a person's hand, because the Kinect SDK will track the hand position for you. You can say, just track that. And if you want to mark where that goes in 3-dimensional space, take the movements on the X and Y axis, you can then send those to a database of pre-defined gestures and determine tolerance. How close is this to a down movement? How close is this to a sweep and right movement? You can program anything else that you want in there, as long as you've got a predetermined path that should take. So you can have a big swirl, and then you could recognize that. Depends what it is that you want to do. The amount of detail and the amount of effort that you want to put in are directly proportional. So you can get the really simple stuff for free, and then the Prime Sense Night API also gives you very simple stuff for free with the waving and up and down. But the rest of it, depending on the details, is up to you. This guy here.
Yeah. Does it have to be able to see your entire body to actually recognize the skeleton, or is it just all your torso instead of?
Pretty sure it has to see from about here up. I've never tried it when sitting down, But I have tried it in a position where I'm relatively sure that it can't see my feet. So if it can't see your feet, I wouldn't worry about it. But it's one of the issues with Kinect, both in terms of development and in terms of you just playing games, is the kind of play area size. You do need a lot of room to move in, and you seem to have to be a decent distance away from the actual sensor. The Nyko Zoom, just remember the name of it now because it's everywhere, is the wee short-sighted glasses that I bought for this. Lets you play a lot closer to it, so probably be able to move about 4 feet away from it. So probably a student apartment would be quite realistic, rather than having to have a big, huge lecture hall demonstrated in. But you don't necessarily have to track all the parts of the skeleton to get value out of it. If the skeleton tracking for, say, your feet, gets dropped out every other frame because it's not really scanning the floor properly. If you're just doing the gestures with hands and maybe the head or whatever, you can still use those. I mean, basically, if and when you get the gesture information, the skeleton tracking information out of it, you can use it then. Any other questions? Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, when you say that like skeleton tracking, it gives you an array of points which are tagged in that object as to where in the body they are. So what we had done in the really simple app was move your right hand. So you've got an array of joints, and the index is the right hand. So if you want to take right foot, you can do that as well, and then you can have a thing going up and down, left, or you